as highly regarded as a ranked option, but for me, she is still a...
Not capping. Hit that follow on the new Twitch, bro. All right, come on. All right, that's what he got going on.
There's almost as many seasons as there are legends.
It's crazy. Hold on. Back it up. I know a lot of y'all don't even know what this is. Maybe some of y'all do, but from season 0, the first one way up top there, the season 0 to like season 5 was the best times Apex ever in history. Obviously, the season 0 to 4 really, but you know, those were the best times Apex history ever. Simple. Y'all don't know the real Apex. So y'all wouldn't even know. Y'all wouldn't even know what it's like to play from 0 to 1. Y'all don't even know that. Y'all never played season 0 to 2. Y'all don't even know that. When Watson dropped and her alt was... Y'all don't even know that, bro. Y'all don't even know that. All right, it's bringing back memories for this is great. Yo, I'm really old, bro. Damn. That's like, imagine sitting here and really thinking to yourself, you really played season 0 and it's like season 30. You're like, damn, nigga, damn, bro. Damn, bro.
And today I'm going to be ranking all 27 legends in Apex Legends
That's
Season 25 for
This
general overall power and playability. Let's go. No legend in Apex is worthless, but some are clearly underperforming in an F tier or bottom tier. We do begin with Caustic. Caustic absolutely is not terrible, but when it comes to the general playability of the
Bro, Caustic F tier don't even make any sense. You run him on offense and run him on defense. Like, what? Alright, what type of list is gonna be, bro? Alright, bro, come on. What else you got?
Game, he pretty much can be beaten out by every other legend. This means when it does come to playing,
in my personal opinion, I'm giving Caustic A tier. Simple. He can run the O and he can run the offense. I mean defense. He can run the offense and defense, bro. Strong defense, strong offense. Like, what, bro? He can hold down buildings. Like, what? He can get teams picked up. Not to mention there's no more DG threats, so he shouldn't really be getting cooked like that. Like, what, bro?
Gas is weak and it's easy to avoid. It's also mostly a non-factor.
This list probably gonna be based on a personal opinion, bro.
He's a legend with incredible potential, and I think a buff to Gas Daddy is gonna come sooner than later. Seer is the second F legend.
Seer.
Caustic has
didn't he get nerfed?
And minimum pub liability. Seer is pretty much forgettable.
Didn't Seer get nerfed? Didn't Lil Nas X get seared? I mean, didn't Lil Nas X get nerfed?
Sparrow or even Vantage will be more.
In my opinion,
that being said,
I think Seer deserves an F. He pooped, in my opinion. He literally trashed. The nigga is not good for anything. He gets nerfed every season. His abilities don't last no more. Like, he pooped.
Then he has a little use via his passive, but otherwise, I would look elsewhere.
My water at.
In D tier, we're going to have one underwhelming legend, and for me, it's one of my top 3 most played legends in a previous main of mine, and this is Bloodhound. The Hound's days as the top dog recon and
then he get buffed.
Long gone for a while now, and while there are some scenarios
isn't he an OG?
Or movement speed boost in the ultimate is going to be good. There's
I feel like Bloodhound deserves an A tier.
Much better.
Off the strength that his alt makes him move.
Passive information gathering. Sparrow has
and his scans.
Or tracking and ballistic speed boost in his ultimate not only works for himself like the Bloodhound ultimate, but the entire team, and you're getting extra.
A D tier Bloodhound is crazy.
Last season, it could have been really fun.
I'm not a Bloodhound main, but I just know real characters and what they're supposed to be at. It's crazy.
Personally, I hope we don't go too far into the wall hacking.
I haven't been playing Apex. Maybe I'm missing something, right?
For C tier,
he's only D tier. I'm crying.
Are fine for overall playability, but not necessarily great. I will state that if you are a ranked warrior, this is where a few of our legends start to.
So this is a ranked warrior. No, this is a
slower pace mode.
Okay, so this is a casual list.
Running it down in top of masters.
That's a snipe.
A legend who saw an insane amount of competitive viability is Crypto, but for our general power list, he's a little lower for the average player. Of course, it's worth mentioning now that this
C tier, right?
Is not an ALGS comp or ranked specific.
Crypto C tier. tier.
these modes, crypto is much
I think he's like a B in my opinion because that drone really do hit good.
The overall game and specifically with
Okay, so you said not AOGs and stuff like that. Okay, I mean still though, crypto in any game mode rank AOGs. Like he's not. I mean,
lower peak shields and overall buffs to the assault and skirmisher legends.
I feel like his drone should circle around him by default, like on Apex Mobile how I did when you just press the button. You know what I'm saying? It just circles around him on default, autopilot moving. That's how it should be. But you know, not my game, right? I think crypto's like a B tier though. I don't use him like that though at all, but
in a similar vein
he's fun
as crypto, we
to like
also have
use your all in.
Prior to the nerf of shotguns, Gibby was an extreme powerhouse because the meta really supported jiggle peeking through his tactics.
Is this C tier?
Of course, support legends had a lot more viability 2 seasons ago with all their buffs. Fast forward to today, shotguns are still pretty decent, but are simply just not the meta.
I'm confused. Why was Gibby C tier? Fortified.
I would argue
Gibby bubble, small or big, ultimate, gun shield, shotguns, HP, big hitbox. How is he a C tier? Shouldn't it be like a B, A minimum? What?
Ranked legend, but truthfully, I would look at.
I feel like it's because Zach not on the game no more, cooking up on Gibby. Now Gibby losing his rankings. Because if y'all know Zach and Sakara Wesson, then you know.
Conduit, but unlike Gibraltar having a lot of ranked prowess, I think Conduit is a little better in the overall gameplay sense. She isn't as highly regarded as a ranked option, but for me, she is still a better.
Hold on, pause this. Am I watching this right? Is Conduit C tier? I'm so confused right now. What? Doesn't she have a speed boost movement ability? When you're behind your teammates, you automatically run continuously. On top of that, she has shields, 2 shields that she can use ability wise, and her ult is a demon ult. Like what? I don't know.
Speed boost is
I'm confused.
A nice thing to have, although it's less
Conduit's at least the A tier, is she not? I'm confused. Potentially S? Like, I'm confused. At A, like, a C tier is crazy, bro. I'm giving her A.
To be effective mid-fight, there was a time where healing items were much harder to come by as well, and this made the ability way more valuable. This is not
she go block off areas, hold down areas. She's really a controller, by the way, with her all. Without it,
flush enemies out of cover. For a support legend to have all that support perks, plus a little control in there, I think she is pretty solid.
Pretty solid, but she's at a C tier though. Pretty solid.
She's a fine pick. Our third recon legend is already here, and she's a legend that I do have a fairly difficult time ranking due to her overall versatility. This is because Vantage arguably has one of the most.
Vantage is a higher rank than Caustic, bro.
She's a recon
Be real, bro.
Passive to identify enemy squads.
In a 1v1 battle, face to face, who's winning that battle? Vantage or Caustic, bro?
When it does come to the overall general power of the game, her passive and even
who's winning that battle? Caustic or Vantage on a 1-on-1 close range?
Consider a top tier. If you are playing ranked, always having a sniper in reserve is amazing.
Obviously, it's Caustic.
Especially true when there are so many 30-30 and G7 users these days. You can really.
She's only ranked higher because she got more movement to get.
Apex, she's like a mid A tier legend, but for everything else, Vantage just does not bring quite enough that Apex players are going to really need to excel at the top of the game. As we move into the tier of the great legends, be sure to hop into my community Discord to find others to play with, as playing with randoms kind of stinks. Next up is B tier, where we actually have more legends than usual. The drastic change to the TTK and the overall legend meta of season 24 has kind of made many legends not necessarily worse, but much less competitive than the longer TTK seasons prior. Not necessarily affected by those changes, but another great option in Apex is going to be Mirage. Mirage has continued to be a really solid all-around pub legend, whereas for the overall ranked portion of the game, or at higher skill levels at least, he's going to be less than ideal. I would say that if you're a sub-platinum player, Mirage is actually a little higher than I do have him ranked here, as less skilled players really just cannot deal with the clones as easily as a highly skilled diamond or higher player. If Mirage was a skirmisher legend, I think the class bonus of getting 50 health or shields upon a knock, combined with the invisible healing, would make him an absolute insane unit. But for now, Mirage is a great run around, have some good fun, bamboozling all your enemies type of legend. Watson sees a pretty drastic fall from my previous rankings for a handful of reasons, but I will start by stating that if you are exclusively playing ranked, she's a high A, maybe even S tier legend, as her ability to control space and slow things down is second to none. But the main reason for her fall into the B tier for me is the fact that the game has really changed substantially this past season, where aggressiveness is rewarded much more than those playing a little bit more passively. Legends that can reposition quickly and force movement have been key, but that being said, if you want a mix of that control and even support properties through her gen to replenish the team's shields, she is arguably the best pure control legend in the game. Our first assault legend is here, and it is Mad Maggie. Mad Maggie is a great all-around combat legend in Apex Season 25, where her tactical and ultimate can be greatly used to force enemies to scatter, cause damage, and honestly, confuse them greatly if you do manage to connect that wrecking ball. What keeps Mags a little bit lower on my list is that her passive of the shotgun boost isn't really necessary, and what Maggie brings can be far outclassed by the other assault legends and even some skirmisher legends. If you want to pick a legend who is made for push plays, and that is pretty much it though, she's the one. Bangalore is second up to Mad Maggie, and this placement probably will surprise a lot of players, but I haven't quite seen the same value in Bangalore that she previously used to have. The nerf to her smokes, the digital threat, plus a handful of other changes over the seasons have made her a little less than ideal when it does come to the meta. Yes, having the smokes to conceal your team and rotate is awesome, but there's others that can kind of do similar things. Plus, her Rolling Thunder has a pretty long cooldown and does not really hold the same value as something like an Ashport or even a Lifeline ultimate. Bangalore for ranked is a little higher, but for general play, she's a great legend, just not amazing like she once was. Rampart right now is a really solid legend who borders on the A tier for the overall meta of the game. Rampy's ability to deal extra damage, block areas, hold choke points, and more with those tactical amped walls gives her a ton of viability at all stages of the game, beginning, mid, and lower rank, upper rank. Her ultimate minigun is also superb at applying pressure to third parties, destroying the entire squad. I think her passive is the weakest part of her kit, as having a boost to LMGs is just okay right now. However, the Rampage is a pretty good option, and it's worth using if you are running Rampart. I think the biggest thing with Rampart is that many assault legends are going to be able to counter her walls, and she isn't really the prototypical powerhouse legend you would expect to use in pubs. Rampart for ranked gets a high A tier placement, so keep that in mind if that is your focus. Capping off the great tier of legends is Catalyst. Catalyst slightly edges out all the other control legends simply because She does what they can all do, but is a little bit quicker, which is definitely needed in today's fast-paced meta. Enter a building, reinforce or rebuild doors, tactical trap hallways and entrances, and when you really need to rotate, she has that ultimate Dark Veil. Catalyst is my preferred solo queue ranked legend due to her simplicity, so keep this in mind if you want an efficient but useful legend for ranked. I think in pubs she falters a little bit, but when it comes to a legend with a complete package, we are now moving to the A tier of Legends of Amazing, but be sure to drop a comment down below with the legend that you think needs to get buffed as soon as possible, Gas Daddy, or maybe even a legend that you think needs a nerf. Also, drop a like on this video. It's the 25th season of Apex Legends, and it also marks my 5th year on YouTube. With that, let's talk about Horizon. Horizon has had some nice skirmisher class buffs during the middle of season 24, which was a great siphon of 50 health or shields upon a knock, plus a bonus tactical charge. However, that extra attack charge was removed at the start of season 25. Horizon has some incredible power even after the dozens of nerfs over the years that she has received, her tactical to assault enemy teams or get away, and her black hole to completely distract or snag enemies up. There's a lot of great passive abilities these days, but Horizon in my eyes has a top 3 passive in all of Apex Legends, where the movement and no fall fatigue greatly increases your elusiveness and your power potential. Regardless of the mode, pubs or rank, you can't go wrong with her if you are looking to be more aggressive with a little side of team play. One of Apex's most free moving legends is Valkyrie, who has been a pretty reliable all-around choice for a little bit now. Valk is the ultimate legend for rotations, with the squad making this process a little trivial in ranked, where she also has some combat fighting potential due to that passive jetpack. Her tactical isn't bad, but it's also not quite as good as like a fuse cluster or the aforementioned Horizon lift. Valkyrie is a really great option these days if you want a mix of movement and recon perks while also being great at surviving fights due to that elusiveness she has, kind of like Horizon. Another really amazing choice for the movement warriors out there is going to be Revenant. Revenant has had a ton of ups and downs in a complete rework, but where he is today is equal parts movement warrior and the squad's tank. Obviously, Apex doesn't really have tank roles, but in terms of a legend with the pure ability to soak up damage, Revenant in the ultimate is going to make it very difficult for an enemy to get you down with one magazine from the majority of Apex's weaponry, which does mean you will have a big edge on them in a one-on-one fight. The ability to leap in and leap out of an engagement also is pretty substantial to increase your play options, whereas prior to Sparrow being introduced, there was no legend that could flank or climb up on an enemy like Revenant can. The only negative that I see that does hold Revenant back a little bit is going to be his massive hitbox, which makes him pretty beamable, and also he doesn't have any specific team abilities. Arguably, Apex's most steady legend is going to be Loba. She still provides quite a bit for the entire team through that black market to get loot, and I actually think she's a little slept on. Her upgrades to get an extra item, gold bags, or make her tactical better are excellent. Her bracelet is the ultimate getaway tool, or even something that can be used to get to height. I think her passive is what keeps her knocked out of S tier, but if you want to take more fights and spend less time looting, she's going to be awesome for this. She's also pretty solid in an endgame ranked match, where if you are struggling for that extra loot and you can't leave your building because there's too many enemies around, she is going to be good for this. I will state that I think Loba is a little more of a convenience legend rather than a legend who has a lot of raw power. Wraith today is another legend that is pretty great across the board as an all-around fighting and even a little team traversal type of legend. Wraith's passive is pretty forgettable, but honestly, the ability to get a little notification when an enemy comes into your area maybe is a tad underrated, or if they are staring at you with a sniper. The tactical to reset was buffed in the middle of last season, and it is much more usable if you are taking the appropriate upgrades. The reset possibilities are truly endless with this, and if you need to rotate through an open area or you gotta be a little bit more creative in a fight, her ultimate portal is definitely still solid. Wraith, I think, falters a little bit when compared to the other S tier legends, mostly because her kit is kind of dated, but honestly, you can't go wrong with the original eternal sweat lord of Apex Legends. Apex's first new legend, Octane, also sees a pretty rock-solid placement of A these days. Not necessarily better than Wraith or the legends before him in A tier, but Octane is one of the all-around best at just having a good time to pub stomp and run around. He was far better last season when you could get a knock and get an ultimate pad back, but I think what gives Octane a lot of legs right now is that you do get 50 health or shields upon a knock, which leans into him nicely being able to use that stim a little bit more. Not a lot more to explain about Apex's resident speedster. If you want a simple but effective legend that can play very freely, Octane is going to be it. If you want a rank choice, so I probably would look elsewhere. He's more like a high C, low B for ranked Apex. Rounding out the A tier is going to be Newcastle, who is honestly so close to being S tier for the all-around game, but when you are kind of just running and gunning, what the castle brings is not necessarily what you're going to need. If you are solely playing ranked, I would argue that Newcastle is easily a top 5 legend through his reset capabilities via the mobile revive, the tactical shield, and of course his ability to hold areas down with the ultimate castle wall. Newcastle sees a ton of pro viability, so there's clearly a lot of value there. I think his overall pick rate in ranked falters a little bit because he just isn't considered a fun legend, kind of like the Gibraltar effect, but his usefulness is pretty much second to none. Now we have S tier, the legends who you can confidently use in pubs or ranked and in lower or upper skill brackets. In this tier for me, there are no major weaknesses, and if they do have one, they can massively make up for it in other areas of their gameplay. One of Season 24's premier legend buffs revolved around Ballistic, and to be honest, I was kind of expecting a nerf his tactical when Season 25 rolled around, but Ballistic was unchanged. There's so much going on for the dad of Apex right now where the ultimate can help the team in fights through all of its extra perks. The tactical almost immediately shuts enemies' ability to one mag you, and his passive sling is incredible this season specifically. There are a few really great guns right now that do benefit from being in the sling. The Devotion, since it gets that turbocharger with full attachments, the Rampage, G7, 3030, there's a ton of great options, and I would say that Ballistic is one of the best team combat fighting legends in all of Apex if you are looking to play together with your squad. Since Ash and Ballistic have been so relevant for the past 2 seasons, the Assault class has a little bit overshadowed Fuse, as he has kind of been the forgotten legend. However, Fuse's power is too good to not recommend at the top of the game. Equal parts Fragger for general play and ranked warrior to force enemies to scatter from their cover. Fuse also getting to hold extra nades per stack means you can rock a Rampage with tons of thermites or even a bow check with frags now. Fuse's ultimate may not be the strongest ultimate in the game, but if you do connect an enemy to the fire, they are in big trouble. Fuse is the ultimate pressure legend in Apex, so if you want to constantly force enemies to be moving or farm a ton of damage, Fuse is the one. Somewhat the opposite of Fuse and Ballistic is our premier support legend in Apex's meta, Lifeline. I debated a little between having Lifeline or Newcastle.
Lifeline is the LeBron James of Apex, bro. She's LeBron James. What the LeBron James? She's LeBron James. She can heal. She can shield. She can revive. She got damage, and she for sure got movement. I've never actually used her since the new update, but she's like getting on 2K and making a 7-footer that can rebound, ISO, play D, shoot, and slash. She's the LeBron James of Apex. I want y'all to know that. She can do everything on that, John. Everything. Everything that LeBron James can do on the court, she can do on Apex. She do everything. I'm not even meat riding or coochie riding. I'm just being honest. Lifeline is LeBron James of Apex. But I never use her still, though. You gotta give credit where it's due. She got a crazy buff. Now, she still don't got that revive shield that she had when, y'all know. But
wrestle for the top spot, but I think what Lifeline brings is a little bit more useful.
Gotta get credit where it's due at.
It does come to the general play of the game. Her tactical healing drone is quite good to get the team back to full health after a fight, or even
it's fast kills in there.
The remote revive, I think, has some slight more value to actually help clutch up.
I remember it was fast kills in there. That's right. Hell no, right.
You as you do pick up that
Pathfinder S tier. Is S tier?
And I would argue that if you are new to Apex, she's a top 3 legend for beginners.
I don't know what they got going on with the new Pathfinder stuff. I don't use Pathfinder because I can't grapple, so for me it's no point using them. But him S tier, I don't know why. I don't know what they got going on. I don't know what type of buff is out there, what type of nerfs out there.
Baked right into it right now, and he can also get the ability to get a second grapple charge or even a second zip through upgrades. And Rejoice, Pathfinder is now.
He's a robot, but he's gonna have a hitbox. He's a robot.
Much more free. All of these buffs mostly.
I feel like Path.
As a top dog again.
I feel like Path is like an A, B. Sparrow. That's my dog, bro. That's my dog.
In a lot of ways, and on equal footing for combat, we have season 20.
He does excel in fights. He's the GOAT, bro. He has insane movement. That's consistent, bro. Consistent movement. He does damage. And he has good recon. Like, you could tell where everybody's at. You can see where everybody's at. Good damage. Like, come on, bro. I like Sparrow. Sparrow's the only reason why I even play Apex. What I do, if I do. Without him, I'm not punching the game. The game is stale, but he makes it more fun. I don't know why people don't like using him. In my opinion, he's the greatest in the game. He's the Kobe Bean Bryant of Apex Legends, bro. Sparrow is the Kobe Bryant. He did everything. He got the movement, got the O. Simple. Ash is crazy.
But if you just want to play Apex and enjoy what Apex is all about,
she's like Kawhi Leonard. She gonna steal everybody. That snare, you get people put in the right spot. She throw that little snare that cooked everybody. Everybody cooked. Everybody salty. Everybody trying to jump, hop. Get up out of there. Cooked. One clip. Ash is tough. I ain't gonna lie. Since her new buff, she tough. That dash is crazy. I don't use her like that because I poop on her like that really, but I mean, I got her heirloom, but I wish I didn't get her heirloom. But anyways, Ash is tough. She deserves an S for sure. She's sturdy. I don't use her though. I rather use Sparrow. He's more fun for me, in my opinion. But Ash tough. Who else S tier?
Mix in these highly aggressive properties with some team use case via that phase breach is going to be on top of Apex's meta. If you have not learned to love Ash, you need to.
I've been seeing and hearing more and more y'all talking about Alter. Like, what's so everybody finally on the Alter wave? Because when I was using it when she first dropped, everybody said she was trash, huh?
Alter in my eyes is kind of like the prototype.
Everybody started using it after a week or two.
Her and Ash, and then S+ tier if I had it. Alter
now she
just do it all.
S tier.
With her portal through walls.
I told everybody she was good when she dropped.
Quick loot bonuses through the passive, reset the team via the ultimate, transport the team through the ultimate in tough situations. She can also get the support.
Hear that? You hear that? You hear that? If you haven't used her since season 21, the intro when she came in the game, you should use her now. If you think about it now, I've been using Alter. I've been told everybody she's the GOAT. Now everybody want to use Alter now. Now everybody want to use Alter now.
If you want to purely play more solo and not really worry about
that's crazy, bro.
she might falter a little.
Listen, bro. Let me know what y'all think about the tier list. You feel me? Join the Discord. Let me know what y'all think about it. If y'all don't join the Discord in 30 seconds, like I said, description's in the bio. For the, you know what I'm saying? The link's gonna be in the bio for the Discord. If you don't join in 30 seconds, bro, I'm telling you, I promise you, I'm pulling up to your crib tonight with a wet napkin, a bunch of wet napkins. They're all gonna be wet. I'm smacking anybody who's up in that John. Mom, uncle, auntie, your dog, your cat, your neighbor, your teacher. I'm smacking anybody with a napkin up in that John. All right, we out.
Bag getter, miss it, better get your bitch before a nigga hit her. The way a nigga cut up, y'all can call me Jack the Ripper. No fish bowl, we gon' 5% tenner. Low touchdown, copy dummy, ain't gotta say no more. I first your pack, you get it gone, you can get some more. Shorty want me love her, but